Hello, everyone. I'm Kyle Constant, Digital Services Librarian at Trails Regional Library, and we're here again for another online training for our electronic resources. Today, we're going to be talking about workforce skills for the 21st century. This is a service that is provided by the same company that does Learning Express Library. So we just looked at that last week. If you haven't watched that video yet, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and take a look at that video before you watch this one. It's possible because they're so similar that I may be kind of glossing over some things. I'll try to hit a lot of the high points, but because the interface is so similar and the account setup is so similar and etc., there's the potential that I'll go a little bit faster over some of those things and it may not cover all the detail that you need. So watch the Learning Express Library video first. Another caveat that I do want to give you up front is that, like Learning Express, I'm currently working on the remote access aspect of this service. It recently changed hands. I didn't realize this was part of the problem with Learning Express as well. They've been bought by EBSCO, and so working with them, I am in the process of getting remote access set up for both Learning Express and Workforce Skills for the 21st century. And once that is established, then I will send out a detailed email giving you instructions on how to sign in from a remote location. Right now, what we're looking at is barcode authentication. So essentially what patrons will be asked to do when they register or log in, not log in, but when they register for the first time, they will have to verify that they have a barcode in good standing or a card in good standing with the library by putting in their number. Once it's set up, then they will just have to sign in with their account credentials. They won't need their barcode number from that point on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the service. I'm going to share my screen with you. There we go. Okay, so starting off at our homepage again and going to online resources, I'm going to go down to, I'm going to go down to where it says Workforce Skills for 21st Century Success and click on that. And you can see it automatically knows, or already knows that I'm from Trails. So this is what I was talking about earlier. It already has, I'm just going to blow this up a little bit bigger so that it's easier for you guys to see. It already has us identified as being within the Trails system. So when you're coming from a computer that's outside of our networks, that doesn't have an address that it recognizes, it's not going to know where they're coming from, and that's why it's going to require that barcode authentication. And again, I'll send more details as they're available. This should look pretty similar, though, to what we saw with Learning Express Library. You've got, they don't call them centers, but that's basically what they have. They've divided up their service into different interest areas or goals in mind. But instead, with Learning Express, it was primarily to do with school and skills associated with going to school or getting into school or becoming certified. This is primarily to build up or establish workplace skills. It's not designed to allow you to get into school to study. It is designed to get you a job or to make you perform better in your job. So the interest areas or the goals are very different. So you've got things like improve your workplace skills, improve your basic skills, computer skills, prepare for high school equivalency tests, prepare for job and career tests, job search and resume tools. So there is some overlap, specifically in this center and this one. You've got a lot of similar materials that are duplicated in this service that are already in Learning Express Library. Obviously, that's not a huge issue, but it is good to be aware that some things are duplicated in both services, and so you can find them in both places. The first thing they'll need to do is register, and I will show you the registration screen just so that you can see, again, very, very similar almost identical to Learning Express. Again, it automatically knows that I'm at Trails. Put in my email, confirm it, put in a password, re-enter it, first name, no last name required, but there's an option, and then you create your account. Once that is done, their login can take place anywhere. Again, I'm working on the ability for them to be able to do the registration from a remote location as well. But once they've got the account established, logging in can be done anywhere. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to get logged in, because in order to do anything on this service, you have to be logged in. You can browse the, sorry, I'm having a little difficulty typing and talking at the same time. You can browse the practice tests and the skills exercises and things like that, but you can't actually access them without being logged in. So you could, for instance, go to improve your computer skills. We'll just start there. And you could see what was available there, but you wouldn't be able to click launch. So this is one of the more interesting aspects of this service, because so many of the other services that we've looked at in the past that had technology instruction were a little bit more expensive, and I think we're maybe a little bit more advanced. And this is designed to really get you up and going with the basics. You can see you have a variety of different subsections of getting started with computers. So for instance, the first one is getting to know your computer. And under that, you've got Computer Basics 1, Roles of Computers, Computer Basics 2, Personal Computer Fundamentals. Then you've got different sections. So you can then click over to using your desktop, and there will be different options available. So you've got Computer Basics 3. You can see it picks right up. The Computer Basics 1 and 2 were in getting to know your computer. Computer Basics 3 is in using your desktop. So it is broken up basically like chapters. It should flow from one subject to the next. And when you get into these, I'll just go ahead and launch one of these so you can see roughly what it's going to look like for your patrons whenever they're using it. It's just going to open up a video player. So most of you have already been through the lynda.com service, through the training that is offered through Lynda. This is very similar. Obviously, it's different instructors, and the course therefore will be different. It will be taught by different people. It will cover different specific things, but in a general sense, it's covering a lot of the same things. But again, it's designed more for beginners, to get them kind of up to speed in order to either enter the workforce out of high school, or to re-enter the workforce if they've been in a job for a long period of time and been laid off or let go, like so many people were in the last 8 to 10 years. So again, it's having a little bit of difficulty loading this morning, but you get the basics. You've got controls over here. You can control which section of this tutorial that you want to go into. So you can click any one of these and it will load that specific video. And each one is going to have a different length. You can see where you are in the video down here at the bottom where you have your timestamp. You've got controls here: play, pause, back and forward. Got volume control. So again, very, very similar to other video players, very, very similar to lynda.com. So this should not be anything too dramatically different or too dramatically difficult for you to show patrons, and for that matter, for patrons to understand if they have any experience with YouTube or something like that. So, and I understand it's always a difficult thing to teach someone how to use a computer by using a computer. That's always a little bit difficult, but that's sort of the reality here, is that in order to deliver these videos, the videos are fairly easy to understand, but it's being delivered online. So patrons may need a little bit of instruction on getting started. And then hopefully as they progress through a course like the technology courses, then they'll be able to take off. Again, similar to Learning Express Library, you've got multiple different places for navigation. You can go back to any of the other centers by going up to the menu up at the top, or you can just expand one of these menus on the side. So if you want to improve your workplace skills, and this might be a good idea or a good time to just kind of go through and show you the basics of what's in all of these, because we may not be able to touch on every piece of this in detail. So improve your workplace skills tutorials. These are things like interpersonal skills, being able to manage your time, things like that. And then work keys preparation. I'm not really sure, honestly, what work keys is. That must be some sort of a certification or a some kind of a qualification test, but I'm not familiar with work keys. And then workplace skills bookshelf. That's of course similar to, let's see, prepare to test for a career readiness certificate. So, okay, so career readiness certificate. So maybe something out of an associate's degree or a GED, something like that, where you would want to get an additional certificate to show an employer that you have achieved a certain level of workplace readiness, that kind of thing. So again, just one more way to build your resume and to become more qualified for a job. Workplace skills bookshelf is going to be ebooks, so you can download them. They're PDFs similar to Learning Express. They're not protected. They can be downloaded directly to a device, or they can be downloaded to your computer and transferred to a device. There's no requirement for special software or anything like that. It just works like a regular file. So anything that you can, where you can actually manage the file directly, such as an Android phone or tablet, then it's pretty easy to do that. On an Apple device, it may be something where you'd want to download it directly to an iPad or iPhone, because the transfer process for those is a little bit more in-depth or difficult. So improving your basic skills, this next set of tutorials is checking your skills so you can kind of assess where you are. Then you can build math, reading, writing, grammar, vocabulary, and spelling. And then, of course, it duplicates a lot of these with Spanish interface for non-native speakers. We just went through improve your computer skills, prepare for high school equivalency tests. So you've got GED, you've got Spanish language GED, you've got HiSET, which is what they're starting to do in more and more places, and TASK, which is not around here, I don't believe. I believe HiSET is what they're transitioning to now in Missouri, but TASK is in other parts of the country. Then prepare for job and career tests. These are, again, similar to the centers that we saw in Learning Express libraries. You can go through and prepare. You can, again, build your skills, prepare for the test, and take practice tests. Each step of that is going to try to work you toward certification. The electrician's licensing exam, this right here, you can see the indicator over on the left shows that it is an ebook. So by launching that, I'm telling it that I want to save it. And you can see I already have a copy of it on my desktop. So it's wanting me to name it and save it. But once it's there, I can open it in any kind of PDF program. I can transfer it again, as I just said. So it's just a PDF file. There's no protection, no requirement for special software. Then, of course, there's practice exams similar to Learning Express. And these work, again, exactly the way they do in Learning Express. And you can see it just pops up, tells you how many questions, how many minutes you have to complete it. And then over here, you have your test mode. Excuse me. Depending on where you are in your preparation, you may want to do a simulation if you feel like you're ready and you just want to get a feel for what it's going to be like to actually take the test. Then you can do that. Practice, when you're done, is going to give you an explanation of every answer so that you get a better grasp of the subject matter rather than just saying you have a pass-fail scenario. Also, the timer is displayed, but it's not enforced, as it says there. And then Learner actually gives you the option. This is something that I was talking about in Learning Express. As you're answering your questions, you can actually hit a button next to each question and have it show you the answer. So for instance, and who knows how long it will take to load in, but okay, so let's say I have no idea what it even asked, but then see you have this check answer thing, and I got it wrong, but it gives you an explanation. It gives you a topic that you can study more on, and then it also tells you where in the NEC, the National Electrical Code, where you can find some of the information about this question, or find the information that you would need to know to get it right. You can go to the next question. You can jump to a specific question. Again, this is very, very similar to the way it looks in Learning Express. You can save it and finish it later, or you can score your test. You can see there's no timer. I'm in learner mode, so it's not going to time me. If I want to go back and start again, then I can do that. Just tell yes, I want to leave this page, and you can go back and restart the test in a different mode if that's what you want to do. So that's similar to each one of these is similar to the way the electrician test looks. And then you've got job search and resume tools. These are kind of interesting because you've got something called a resume builder, a cover letter builder, and then you've got the ability to actually do a job search, and then you've got preparation tools for interviews. So the resume builder and cover letter builder, I'll go into those, and it took a little while for it to load. Hopefully now that it's loaded once for me this morning already, it will load up a little bit faster, but it's actually an automated, it's just what it says. It's a resume builder. It's an automated process that you go through where you're entering your information, and then at the end it spits out a file that you can save, you can print, and it keeps track of all of those. And you can see over here on the left it says Resume Hub. So they've partnered with another company, Resume Hub, to provide this. So you can see when I start out here, I can either upload my resume or I can start filling in these fields. So I can give the resume a name. So let's just keep with the electrician theme, and we're going to say electrician job application. And then you can select the category, you can describe your resume, you can give the person reading your resume an idea kind of where you are, and then you can put some information in here about whether you're working currently or not. And then you can start building your resume. As you're doing this, as you're putting this information in, it's also going to be keeping track of some of this information so that you can come back and see whether there are things that fit your job or your abilities. So for instance, you've got resumes, a place where it will save all of your resumes. Letters, again, if you go through the cover letter builder, it will save those here. Job opportunities, if you do job searches, or if you, so here's a job opportunity. If you want to create one, then you can fill in details about what you're looking for, and then save it, and it will kind of have a saved. They call it opportunity, but basically it's kind of like a saved search. You're saving a template more or less of what you're looking for. And then if you click on search, you can now also search directly by going into the job search here and just entering in either a keyword, or if you just wanted to see kind of what was in your area, then you can just put in a zip code or a city and state. It defaults to jobs within 50 miles, but again, you can decrease that if you just want something local. And then it will go through and show you the things that are available in your area. Now, I don't know where it's sourcing this information. I don't know where, okay, maybe it's simply hired. I'm not sure if so much of this information is shared between Indeed or Monster.com or Simply Hired. And so it's difficult to know with any certainty whether you've seen all the jobs that are available. So this might just be one more resource to show patrons, to let them know that, you know, there's one more search that they can do in addition to Indeed, Monster.com, and things like that. And when people are looking for jobs, generally any source that they can have to find more opportunities is a good thing. So, you know, people will appreciate that. Okay, job search, that's what we just looked at. Resume builder, cover letter builder, you've seen those. Prepare for your interview, again, is just sort of building those skills again. It's, again, this is going to go back over to Resume Hub, or you've also got the job interview bookshelf, and that will be full of ebooks or an ebook that you can, again, save to a device. And if someone, you know, wants to go back over these periodically on a phone or a tablet or something like that, they can download this, put it on their device, and review it from time to time as they're going through their job search. As with Learning Express Library, there's also user guides for how to get started using the service. There's frequently asked questions, contact us, registration information, and system requirements. So that is the basics of how you use workforce skills for 21st century success. Again, I am working on getting access for remote patrons, and I will send information to you about that whenever it is set up and running. I'm going to look and see. Let's see. I don't see any questions in the chat. So since there are none, I am going to say thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.